everyone tonight? Good. All right, let's get this started. All right. Tonight, I want to start by introducing myself a little bit first, but I'm not the person presenting to you, okay? The person presenting to you is the president of our company, who's going to be coming up here to talk in a minute here. But before I get started, if everyone could just do me a favor and turn off your cell phones, turn off your cell phones, or put it on silent, that'd be great, and please, if you, during the time that you're here, if you, feel free if you need to use restroom or anything like that, it's right around the corner. I just want to let everyone know where it is. Okay, a little bit of information on me, who's introducing. My name is Robert, and I'm the broker owner and of Berkshire Hathaway. You're in our building, and of Elite Mortgage. I've been in the industry for over 20-something years. I think it's a long time. But I love this business. Okay, I love this business. And hey, if you're new, come on up, so you don't miss any of this, guys. Come on up. Okay, but I love this industry. I've been in this industry since I was 18 years old. By almost accident. By accident. Not a lot of people have moms that tell you to get in the business when you're 18 years old. But I had a mom that did. And I got really lucky because I found myself in this business. After being in this business for so long, I think some of you know me for a lot of years now. And when I founded this company at 20, who would have thought that I'm still the owner 26, 27 years later? I love this business because in real estate and mortgage, man, there's only $3 trillion industries really in the world, and we happen to be in two of them. The real estate industry and the mortgage industry. I'm going to tell you something about this industry, okay? If you took every single millionaire in the United States of America, and you put all those millionaires in this big, huge Super Bowl stadium, and you said, stand up if you are a millionaire because of this business they call real estate and mortgage, you know that over 92% of the millionaires in America are millionaires because of what we do. Maybe you're not a millionaire because you are a realtor or a mortgage broker, but you're a millionaire because of the business. You're a millionaire because you own a commercial building. You're a millionaire is because you have equity in land and you own all this land. No matter what, the business of money and real estate is what makes up 92% of the millionaires in America. And that's the game that we play. I've made my millions so many times over in my life, okay? But the thing is that I'm not just a millionaire because I own a company that sells homes. I'm the owner here, and I have 350 agents that work for the firm during the day. Okay, and I'm sure they're working during the night too and on the weekends. All right, and so yeah, I make good money because I have great realtors that work for me. But then I have great mortgage agents that work for me because you know what they do? They help all those realtors help find money for the people to buy the homes, right? Because a lot of people who buy a home, they don't pay for the home cash; they need the money. But the crazy thing about money that I like and I love is, man, people just keep coming back for it. It's like an insane drug that you can't get enough of. Money. It's a funny animal. Money is, okay? It's something that people always want. People grow up wanting it. You can't live life without it. When you don't have it, you get divorced. You get hurt. Your life is ruined without money. So what better drug than money, man? We are the ultimate dealers here, okay? So people keep coming back for this kind of stuff. And so when you're here tonight, you know why you're here? I'm not even the one talking to you tonight. I've done that too many years already. I'm semi-retired from doing presentations and so forth, But tonight, when you're sitting here, you're going to learn about something. You're going to learn about how to get in this money industry, okay? And when we tell you how to get into this money industry, we're talking about how to get into this money industry on two big scales, okay? Two ways. The one way we're going to teach you how to get into this money industry is how to become, you know, a money broker for us, which is called a loan officer, okay? We're going to teach you today, we're going to talk to you today, okay, about how to get in this industry, how to make money in this industry. Does it make sense? Okay, all right? And the person I'm going to introduce that's coming up here in a minute, there's months where this guy makes more money in 1 month than doctors make an entire year. This is someone who used to be, he came up from a background of hard-working people used to making less than $100,000 a year. Matter of fact, he came up in an environment where you need to go to school, work really hard, become an engineer, and make a normal kind of salary. See, people, you know, I tell people in my classes that, you know, you set ceilings for yourself in your life. In your life, you set ceilings for yourself. Because if you grow up and you want to be an engineer, you give yourself a little bit of a ceiling. Because you know what? If you're an engineer for the state, there's only so much you can make. There's no dang engineer that's going to go ask the state of government to pay me $1 million a year. No, engineers for the state have a ceiling, right? And then when you make the decision that you want to be an engineer, you set yourself a ceiling. When you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, you set yourself a ceiling. And that's a ceiling of a teacher. You say, one day I'm going to grow up to be a third grade teacher. I don't see not many $1 million third grade teachers running around, do you? So the thing is that when you set yourself what you want to do in life, you set a ceiling for yourself. And then you know what happens? Then the moment you make that decision, you started at a floor. And then you spend your whole life finding your way from the floor to your ceiling. And you know that at best, you hit your ceiling. One day you want to be a third grade teacher, one day, there's nothing wrong with that. But you remember that whatever you want to do in life, you set a ceiling, okay? You want to be an engineer? Engineers only make so much. You want to be NFL basketball player, then NFL football player, or NBA basketball, then you set a different ceiling, okay? Ceilings are different no matter what you choose. Well, I'm going to tell you something. When you set the ceiling of wanting to be a money broker and being in the mortgage industry, your ceiling is unlimited. Because the person walking up tonight, his ceiling, he makes more sometimes than what doctors make in a month. The ceiling of loan officers I've seen go into the 7 figures, meaning that as loan officers, we help people get loans. We make around $5,000, $6,000 every time we help somebody. It's not uncommon for us to help 10 people a month, but for great people, sometimes you help 30 people in a month. Does it make sense? And if you end up making $200,000 for the month, so be it. We don't complain. Okay? That's the ceiling. So when you're sitting here tonight, I want you to sit here and say, man, I'm not playing this little game. I'm playing a big game here with this company. Make sense? I have 400 people that work for me that play this game. And I make money every single time they do anything. They lift a finger, I make money. Okay? Close a deal, I make money. And so I play the game a little bit differently. You know what game I play? I play the game as an owner. Okay? I'm the owner of this company. These people have to work for my company in order to be able to work. And because of that, I make money on every deal that closes. Does it make sense? Okay? And so I play the game on a different scale. I play the game as the owner. My agents work here. I own this place. I actually, everything, you look around, you do a 360, everything you sort of see belongs to me. Okay? That's what I do. I built this whole shopping center here. All right? And I own it. But then I own the roof I own the roof, I own the floor, I own the walls that you're sitting on, I own the chairs that you're on right now. And so whatever happens in my building, I make money from. So tonight we're also going to share with you something very spectacular. We are expanding our company, and if you get on board with us when we're sort of expanding, there's an opportunity for you to own something here too. It means that I'm the In-N-Out Burger looking to show you how to own your own In-N-Out Burger franchise. I'm the Costco that wants you to one day own your own Costco. I'm the mortgage broker and real estate broker that one day wants to teach you to be an owner yourself. Does it make sense? Okay? And so when you're sitting here tonight, you're going to learn about two things. You're going to learn about the first opportunity is the opportunity to get into the mortgage industry. And it's one of the, it's actually rated top 3 industries to be in the world. It's the top 3 industry or job to be part of in the world, okay? But we're going to share with you by the end of the night what kind of money the owners make. The owners make, and give you the opportunity to be part of that. Does it make sense? You know, so I don't care right now if you're 75 years old, there's an opportunity for you here. But if you're 20 years old, there's an opportunity for you here too, because I founded this company when I was 20, 20. I couldn't drink, but I owned a company, you know what I'm saying? But then I got started in this company when I was 18. The topic of tonight's training for some of my managers who's going to be in the other room is that, you know, don't underestimate the new generation coming up. They're smarter than we are. You know, that's one of the topics I'm teaching tonight. Is I'm going to talk to my group, and I'm going to tell them to make a big push for the young generation as well, because those people are smarter than we are. Man, you give me 10, 22, or 21, 20-year-old bulldogs out there that used to be like me, and we will rule this industry. Because we party hard, but we can work harder. You know, we have energy. We have energy that my 45-year-old butt can't have. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you know what? I have a wife and 4 kids, so I have 10 other things in my mind. Some of the 21, 22-year-olds, they have nothing else on their mind, man. The moment you show them their first $10,000 check and you show them you can make 30 of these a month, man, they'll put down everything to make that. You know what I'm saying? They'll put down everything to make that. Man, how do you think I felt when I bought my first Ferrari or my first Lamborghini or my first Bentley? You know? Man, the moment you buy your first one, you want to buy 10 more. And that's what I did, you know? and so that's why I'm telling you, this is a great industry to be in. The person talking to you tonight is the president of our company, okay? You're not talking to vice president or anyone. The president of our company is going to be in front of you tonight. He is literally one of the top producers and loan officers in the state, okay? There's months, he don't need to be talking to you, because there's months where he makes more in 1 month than people make in years, okay? Years, not in 1 year, but years, okay? But he's out here because he wants to show you what he's doing, talk to you about the industry, and he wants to personally train, hopefully, every single one of you to do what he's doing. But at the same time, as you're listening to our company, you have the opportunity also to learn from me. And as you move up in our ranks, I will personally train you how to own something. You know, not just work for something, but how to own something. And hopefully some of you will get that bug, and that bug will want you and push you to owning a bit of our company and help us expand nationwide. Does that make sense? Pretty powerful opportunity tonight. So that's why I told you, turn off your dang phones, okay? None of that ringing stuff when we're doing this meeting. We have probably 50 VIPs that are on the webinar from other cities right now going to be listening to this presentation. Because if there's ever a time in your life that you're going to have to pay attention, because this could be that day that changes your life, hopefully you realize it right now, and you take advantage of that opportunity. Because the person coming up tonight, he's amazing, but he has a lot of heart, and he believes in what we're doing, okay? So please help me welcome up our president of our company, Mr. Doug Ross. All right. The cameras are on. You're right here. A bunch of people watching, okay? All right. Hey, and the people, my managers, meet me in the main room. We have a lot to go over, okay? So you guys can quietly move over to the other room.
Yeah, so for those of you who've already sat through this, please go next door. Robert's got a kind of a continuing training for those that have joined and are ready to go on to the next step of things.
And everyone who's new, please move yourself up towards the front. Get a seat so you're here, okay?
We got a lot of new people. The numbers didn't go down very much. All right, guys. Well, I'm excited to be here today. I'm not sure where the webinar is or if everyone can see me okay. But please feel free to move up. I might talk pretty loud. Can everybody hear me in the back? EJ, good? Hear me? All right. So we've got people in this room that are from all walks of life. We got some of you guys. Who is an active producing loan officer? Okay, so we got just one active producing loan officer. Maybe a few more in the back I saw. right? So we have a lot of backgrounds, and so what I figured I could talk a little bit about is just the industry itself. Robert kind of introduced that a little bit. What's up? So right here?
Yeah, right here definitely.
Right in the...
No, more to this side. Just so if you wanted to be out of the line.
All right, I'm trying to stay right here for my webinar folks.
You can go further left too. Just
Okay, so not that far. Right, sorry guys, first time doing the webinar thing. So I want to talk about the industry a little bit, right? Robert introed it pretty well. I want to talk about a loan officer, what it is we do. I want to talk about Pacific Wholesale Mortgage and what makes us a little bit different, right? And some of the opportunities that Robert talked about, and different ways you can come on board at PWM is the acronym. All right, so as Robert mentioned, I'm going to have to kind of push this over manually. Let me make sure that this actually moves. Hold on one second. There we go. All right, so as Robert mentioned, the career as a mortgage loan officer can be pretty lucrative, right? It's, I think, one of the $3 trillion industries of today, right? And mortgage loan officers can go by a lot of different terms, right? You hear mortgage loan officer, you hear mortgage consultant, you hear senior loan officer, which I don't even know what that means or what criteria. You hear mortgage consultant, but it's all the same thing. We are in the business of delivering money to people who need it to buy homes. That is essentially what it is we do, okay? So very few individuals out there in the United States today buy homes in cash. In fact, 80% of Americans require some degree of financing, right, to buy a home, to buy shelter for their family. So we're not selling an extra special facial cream, right, or a special soap. We're selling a needed commodity. Okay, I want to make sure everyone understands that. Now, the nice thing about this particular industry is that you're not out there showing houses to clients at 8 p.m. at night, driving all around town, and you're not trying to sell people on why it's a good idea to get insurance because someday you're going to die, right? We're not selling death, right? And these are great industries, by the way. I have friends that sell life insurance. I have a lot of friends that are realtors, right? But the advantage to being a loan officer is that you can service clients from literally all over the nation from the comfort of your own home. You're not driving around, you don't have that instability of being out there active all the time. You can be working from your house. In fact, last year, my biggest producing year of my career, I worked from home about 50% of the time, right? We had a baby, wife needed some help, right, because it was a tough newborn, and I was able to accommodate that family situation because of the industry that I'm in, okay? And for the most part, if your business isn't getting too crazy, you can work bank hours, okay? Sometimes you got to answer the phone after hours or on a weekend to keep the process rolling, but it's not all the time, okay? So a couple myths about loan officers, right? I hear this sometimes. The first myth is you have to be good at math. A lot of people think loan officer, they think this guy or gal that's sitting in a cube crunching numbers and they're just really good at math. They're that kid that took calculus in high school, right? Super not the case, all right? So as loan officers, we are the sales side of loans, right? So we're bringing business to the bank, we're making introductions, we're setting them up with loan products, okay? And we have computer programs that calculate all this stuff for you. Right now, you are going over rates, and you are going over monthly payments with borrowers, but it's a program you spit information into, and you go over with someone. So you don't have to be particularly gifted at arithmetic to be a very talented loan officer. In fact, most of the folks that are more into algorithms and things kind of geared towards processing and underwriting, whereas the people who are good with people, right, kind of lean more towards loans and loan officer sales side of things, okay? So, also, I think it's important to define who we sell to. I missed that part. So we sell to people who either already have a loan or are looking to get one. They want to buy a house. Maybe it's their first one. Maybe it's their 10th one. So they're either refinancing their existing mortgage, right, to get a better rate or take some cash out, or they're buying another place. Okay, so those are our customers. And the terminology we use in this industry is borrowers. Realtors call their buyers buyers because they're buying a house. Loan officers, we refer to them as borrowers because they are borrowing money from our bank, right? So you'll hear that lender speak when you're in this industry, okay? Myth number 2 is that you have to have a lot of money to get started. Not the case. I heard that one a couple times. It threw me for a loop, right? So you are not lending your own money here. You are working 100% with a bank's money, okay? So you do not need a lot of money to get started. You're not lending out your own funds here, okay? Now, like a car salesman who sells cars for their product, what's our product, right? our product is home loans, right? A 15-year mortgage or a 15-year loan would be a product, right? A 30-year loan would be a product. A 30-year loan with a borrower that's got a 760 credit score is going to be a particular product we deal in. A 15-year loan for somebody that's got a 600 credit score is a very different product. But it's important to understand that our product, that what we sell, what we push, are loans. That's what we do. Okay? So you take these different products and you give them names, right? The FHA 30-year fixed loan, the 15-year conventional, right? The 5/1 ARM conventional. Okay? These are all different products that we deal in as loan officers. Okay? So how do we get paid as loan officers? So you get paid anywhere from 1% to 2% of the actual amount that a borrower borrows from the bank, right? The loan size that funds at the end of the day is what you get a percentage of, okay? And you get paid once it closes or funds. Once once the bank sends that wire to the Federal Reserve, it arrives at the title company, we get paid. And you get paid on a percentage, right? So it's not a salary position, and it's not an hourly position. Okay? We get paid off of the commissions of the closed business that we bring to the bank. And I have an example here, right? So you got a borrower and they're looking for a house and they've been pre-approved for $500,000 and they're putting $100,000 down, which is 20%, right? So they're actually borrowing $400,000. Okay, so that means that at the end of the day, the company gets a check for 2.25% of that loan size. Okay? Now from that check, the loan officer gets paid 1.25% of that amount. So $5,000 minus some E&O. Okay? So that's the standard payout. I'm going to take questions at the very end because a lot of times I end up answering them throughout the presentation. Okay? So this would be what you get paid out on as a loan officer. Now obviously as the loan size gets bigger, that check gets bigger. And if you're closing loans consistently hovering in the $200,000 range, obviously the commission is going to be a little less. But the percentage is consistent. 1.25 goes to the LO, bank gets the rest. Okay? So it can be a lot of fun working as a loan officer. I like problem solving. I like kind of figuring out solutions, right? I like building relationships with people that last over time, right? I'm not a big fan of the car salesman or the HVAC setup where you meet somebody for the first time, you instantly build trust, sell them, and then never see them again. Right? This industry is actually the opposite of that. Right? What we're doing is we're selling a product, and then we deliver that product with great service, and then that customer comes back to us when they want to refinance, or when they have a friend that wants to buy, or they want to buy their second house. Right? We sell that service to our realtor, and the realtor delivers the client. We do a great job, and that realtor continues to refer us business. Right? So we are in the business of creating relationships for life. And to me, that feels a little more real. Right? Because I'm the guy delivering the service to make sure that you come back to me at the end of the day. That's how a top producer has to do it. Otherwise, it's called a one-off, where they give you a deal, you screw it up, and you never get another one. Okay, so we have to be careful that we're providing and backing the things that we say, right? We do on the service side, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay? So a lot of the systems that I've established as a loan officer help you to stay in touch with those clients for life. Not only before we close, but during and after. There's systems of communication where you're continually checking in, staying top of mind, so that when they need that real estate related item, they're going to think of you. Okay? So that's a little bit about the industry. In terms of how we compete, I figured I'd talk a little bit about my history as a loan officer, just a couple of minutes. Okay? So first off, Pacific Wholesale Mortgage is a mortgage broker. Are you guys familiar with the differences between a direct lender and a mortgage broker? Has anyone heard of that before? We have any level of familiarity with that? So let's start there, okay? So my first 3 years in the industry, I worked as a loan officer as a direct lender. Direct lender means you work for one bank, right? So I have my back-end bank, and I was trained by good people, right, that helped me understand how to build value in everything I did, right? What I was selling to my clients, what I was selling to my agents was a great experience. The great experience of working with me, right? And that great experience comes from 4 main things that I believed in. Number 1, you gotta be willing to put in the work. Great success requires work, right? Anyone that's saying anything different is trying to sell you something, right? You're not gonna drift your way up to the top of the mountain. It's gonna require effort, right? And I was willing to outwork the competition, right? I was willing to work in an evening or a weekend to make sure the deal got closed and it got closed the right way. Okay? Great communication, right? You've got to be available for your people. One of the number one complaints I hear from clients and realtors especially is when the loan goes south, the loan officer stops picking up their phone. So being in front of issues, talking through things, making sure you're available is key. So regular update calls while you're in the transaction, before, after, making sure there's tons of communication, okay? It's a really big piece to this service, to this experience. Number 3 is accountability. I want to be accountable to my people, to my realtors, to my buyers, my borrowers, and the seller during a transaction. In fact, I offer that to the listing agent. Hey, your seller can call me and I will pick up the phone and we'll talk to make sure they have that assurance that the loan is just fine. Okay? And the last one is just transparency. My philosophy is all frustration stems from unmet expectation. So if you take a few minutes and prepare them for what to expect during this process, it's going to be a great thing. When that appraisal comes in low, and I've already told you what might happen if the appraisal comes in low, it's not a fire we got to put out. Right? We're prepared. And so being transparent about your fees, being transparent about potential surprises is key to creating that great experience we're selling in this industry. Okay? So now, as a direct lender, my rates were kind of high, okay, because I could only choose from my one bank. But because I was selling such a great experience, I was still able to grow at a pretty good rate, right? Within my 3rd year as a loan officer, I was making about 4 times what I was as a civil engineer. Just from putting into practice these 4 things, putting together some strategies, and growing each year exponentially. Okay? But I struggled because I came from the engineering community. That community was fairly bottom line driven, right? And I found that there was a portion of the market I couldn't touch as a direct lender that had high rates. I came to understand that the industry is broken up into thirds. You've got borrowers who only care about the price. They will ask you your rate at the initial conversation. That's all they really care about. You'll have clients that really only care about service. They care about that connection, feeling really good after they meet with you, right? I did really good with those ones, okay? And then you have a third of the pie that can be convinced either way. So as a direct lender with high rates, I did really good with the people that just cared about the service. Maybe they didn't know about rates or what was going on, right? And I did really good about convincing people the value of service if they could be swayed either way. But there was a third of the market that I could not touch as a high rate direct lender. I just couldn't. I knew there was a particular type of client that wasn't interested in what I had to give, right? Now, around the same time that I came to understand this, about 3 years into my career, I also came to understand that 90% of this great experience I was selling came from me, the loan officer. It wasn't my bank. I was the one making the phone calls. I was the one getting ahead of things, making the strong pre-approvals, making the 21-day closes. It wasn't my bank. All my bank had to really do was have some decent turn times, and I would do the rest. Okay? So, then something happened. I pre-approved somebody, nice couple, bunch of dudes, I just really hit it off with them. I'm doing my Thursday pre-approval call where I check in and say, hey, how's the house hunt coming? Super excited for you guys. Do you have any questions, need anything from me? And they're like, Doug, we got bad news. I'm like, oh man, what do you mean? They're like, oh, we went with someone else. I said, why? What happened? And they're like, well, we went with this other guy. The loan officer's name was Michael Barnett. He's in this office. And they're like, dude, his rate was like 0.5% lower than you. And I was pretty sad, right? I'm like, oh man, right? I worked so hard with this, I'm losing these deals. And rather than getting frustrated, I ended up calling Mr. Michael Barnett. And he currently works for Elite Mortgage, which is our back-end bank. And I kind of talked to him, hey man, what you got going on over there? This is crazy. I ended up kind of interviewing him and came to work for Elite Mortgage. And I could not have anticipated how my business would explode when I had this third of the pie as well. When I could offer all of my service I was running, but I could do it at a much better rate. A rate that could either match or beat the online guys. I wasn't concerned about rate. In fact, I give a Friday rate update every Friday to all my people. I lead with my rates because I'm proud of them. And I can believe in my product more because I don't got that client that comes to me after I pre-approve them and they heard a commercial on Pandora about an APR at 3.1 and I'm offering them a 3.6 and they're like, dude, why are you ripping me off now? What's going on? They think I'm taking advantage of them, right? And I'm not. That's the best I can offer, right? At that setup. Okay? So it's important to understand the difference between a direct lender and a mortgage bank when we're talking about PWM. So I have a slide that kind of highlights the differences. So a direct lender, you work for one bank. You either can do the loan or you cannot do the loan. Okay? You have one set of guidelines. And as a direct lender, you've got this ladder of people you are paying as part of your payout. I had a branch manager, I had a regional manager, I had 3 vice presidents and a president that all had a piece of the pie whenever I closed a loan. I was also paying for a very expensive brick and mortar building that was super fancy that my borrowers were paying for. That rate that was super high is to pay for all of our bills. We have a lot of them as a direct lender. Okay? In contrast, as a wholesale broker, you work for multiple banks. Lots of different banks. Okay? You're not brand specific. Okay? The bank, so you've heard of the phrase that when the banks compete, the borrower wins. And that's exactly what happens as a mortgage broker every time you price a loan. You've got this list of lenders, they're all competing, let's choose the best one. Okay? So I kind of like it this way. Oh, and you also have greater flexibility. When you work for 50 banks, there's a lot of different products you can offer versus when you just work for one. Okay? I would liken a wholesale broker versus direct lender to picture working for Hyundai. Great brand, great company, right? And you're a car salesman, but all you can sell is Hyundai. So this couple comes in, they're like, dude, Doug, we want a fast car. And I'm like, oh, you want the Hyundai Sonata? That thing is crazy fast. Fastest thing on the road, right? And they're like, wait, what about this research we've been doing in this brand called Ferrari? I'm like, no, you don't want the Ferrari. You want the Hyundai Sonata. This thing is smoking, right? See, the thing is that brands, car brands, just like banks, you're not going to find one brand that does everything the best. They're going to do a couple things well, and everything else is just mediocre, right? You're not going to find one car brand that has the fastest car model, and the safest car model, and the most luxurious car model, and have the #1 rated truck, and car, and SUV, and minivan, and motorcycle. You're not going to find it out there, right? So as a broker, you can take the 1 or 2 products that bank does well and leave the rest. I don't need your conventional. You guys do really good with FHAs. You work really well with borrowers that have challenged credit. So if you want an FHA loan, I got 6 guys that do FHA all day long. That's what they specialize in, right? You got a borrower with challenged credit, I've got a bank that works really well with challenged credit and the rates are still really competitive. You want a fast lender? I got a guy that could close in 10 days. I did it last year. It's awesome. UWM, great lender. Okay? But if you want the lowest rate out there, we're going to go with the lender that's built for pricing and not for speed. You can't have it all. So I'll prep the borrower. We may need a couple more days to close this because these guys aren't built for speed. But I'll get you that rate that'll beat the online guy easily. Okay? So you prep them. And you cater your product to the customer's needs, which is something you can truly do as a wholesale broker that I could not do as a direct lender. I just had a limited amount of cars I could sell. Now I can sell any car in the auto mall. Okay? So the power that comes with having multiple products, I even got, you're in the marijuana industry, I got guys that'll do loans that don't verify income. Now, it's going to be a super high rate, and you're going to put 30% down, but I can accommodate that kind of borrower because there's kind of a gray area where it's not federally legal, so you can't really track any of the money, right? But we want to be able to cater our borrowers that have unique situations, right? And do well in educating them into what they're getting into. That's where transparency comes in. Okay? So, the driving force behind why we started this company, right, initially, is because we wanted to have a company that gives you access to all the products you need to be successful, and that also comes with the training on how to use it. It kills me to see people who want to take care of their kids. They want to send their kids to nice schools, they want to go on the nice trips, but they're missing data, right? Getting there is about having the right disciplines. It's about knowing what to say, how to say it with the right energy, with the right attitude. That is a learnable skill. I wish when I got in this industry, I had somebody that took me under their wing and said, listen, I want to show you how to experience the level of success that I'm experiencing right now. Because it's just a strategy, guys. If your grandma worked 20 years to generate the perfect recipe for the perfect chocolate cake, and you are not a baker, but she hands you that recipe, how many times can you generate that perfect chocolate cake? Even though you didn't put the 20 years into trying to create it. Every single time. It's just about having the right strategy, right? And people charge money for strategy. It's not something we want to do here, okay? So we want to give you the right products along with the right strategies on how to use them so you can produce at a high level. Because everybody wins when you're closing 20 deals a month, especially you. Okay? So, I want to break down the income as a loan officer, and then I want to break down the income as a team builder, and then we'll kind of close it out. All right, so I want to go back to our example. So this is back to income as a loan officer, right? You got that borrower that's looking for a house for $500,000. They're borrowing $4,000. You get paid $5,000 a month on that or $5,000 from that one transaction. So if you do the math and you close one deal a month at this loan size, and you're already pulling in 60 grand a year from one deal a month. Okay, now that is an underproducing loan officer right there. That is a loan officer that needs a lot of help. Okay, something's not right. Let's get in there and figure out why you're not closing more deals. Now, if you just double it to 2 loans a month, you have doubled your annual income to $120,000 a year. Robert talked about how there's no ceilings. He is correct. There are absolutely no ceilings. There are loan officers in this area that are making well into the 7 figures because they just close a lot of loans. Okay? And if you can close 10 deals a month, that's $50,000 a month or $600,000 that year. That is a strong year. Okay? And closing 10 deals a month isn't as hard as you think if you have the right training. Once again, if you know, what am I doing on Monday? How am I structuring my day on Tuesday? What am I saying to my clients on Wednesday? If you have a plan and you're organized and you get creative, you can do this. Now, you're never going to get to 10 deals a month from selling to your friends and family. You have this little sphere that is going to dry out. But if we can teach you how to be a business-to-business loan officer, where you're selling to CPAs and divorce attorneys and most assuredly realtors, and you get one realtor that gives you half a deal a month, which is not very much, and you get 20 of those realtors that are giving you just a half a deal a month, you're there. You just hit 600,000. You just hit 10 closings regularly. Okay? It felt so good waking up January 1st knowing that I had 30 relationships with realtors that were going to give me 10 deals that year. That's job security. That's success. That's business-to-business loan officer sales. I talked about that, right? You don't got to start over. You just keep deepening that relationship and the deals keep coming. I would liken it, a lot of people think networking is like hunting. You're out there hunting and you're shooting things right now. I liken it to being a gardener. You're just cultivating these plants, you're nourishing them, you're cultivating them over time, and eventually they start to bear fruit. And if you've planted enough of those things, that fruit can be crazy overwhelming in a good way. That's what we do. That's what we teach here. Okay? Like Robert said, one of my biggest months last year, I closed about 30 deals. It was a little over 30, right? It was a good month. And I don't share that to brag. I share that to illustrate what's possible if you just have the right strategies. And you roll it long enough, right? The compound effect. If you dedicate yourself to doing one thing every day and you give it enough time, the result will be substantial. But if you're expecting overnight success, you're in the wrong industry, right? You got to be willing to put in the time. And that snowball starts rolling and it gets crazy out of control. Okay? So, that is the income you can make as a producing loan officer at Pacific Wholesale Mortgage because you have the right products and you have the right training. Now, the second thing that Robert mentioned that I want to go over a little bit is that at Pacific Wholesale Mortgage, like he mentioned, we give you the opportunity to be an owner in the company alongside with us. Now, this is where it gets really unique. There are other mortgage brokers out there. We are not the only mortgage broker. It's a pretty big thing out there, okay? But in terms of profit share and the capacity to build a team, that is very, very unique. I've never heard of anything like it in the industry, okay? Now, here's where I get the eye roll, the whole not another network marketing, multi-level pyramid thing, right? And if you think about it, there's a lot of companies out there that have given profit share kind of a bad name, right? And the reason they've done this, well, first off, a pyramid structure can be found in virtually any company in America. You're going to have producers, you're going to have branch managers, you're going to have managers over there. Virtually any structure creates some kind of a pyramid. Okay? Now, why multi-level has such a bad name is because most of the time, these companies are not product-driven and they're not customer-focused. Right? Most of them offer this product that's 5 times the cost of what it should be, and you've got to convert, or you've got to recruit 6 more people for it to even start to make sense, right? That's the traditional model you see in multi-level, right? This overpriced, mediocre product that requires an expensive buy-in at the bottom so that hopefully you can make your way up the ranks and eventually get it back and make some money, okay? That's why you get the eye roll. That's why a lot of us have had that bad experience with that company where we invested $2 grand and didn't see anything back, okay? That is not what we're offering here. I mean, my wife and I got involved in a company a couple years ago that did face cream. And the buy-in was like $1,000. It was $100 a month for face cream. If you saw that cream on the shelf at Walmart for $1,000 plus $100 a month, you keep walking, right? It's not a good deal, right? And that's most of the time what you see in multi-level, okay? So the concept is flawed because the top gets rich at the cost of the people at the bottom. Somebody's getting screwed somewhere. Okay? Now in contrast, that's not what we're offering here. Okay? Let's go back to that same example of the loan officer getting paid out the check, right? So we have, in this example, a $400,000 loan. The company's getting 2.25%. That's $9 grand. Okay? So that means that 1.25% is going to the loan officer. They get their $5,000. But the remaining $9 grand goes to the company, right? That 1%. Now there's $1,000 that goes for processing, and because we're W-2ing this thing, there's another quarter that's going to go for Social Security and tax withholdings, right? And then there's a management bucket of 0.5%. So 0.5% of that loan is going to the broker to pay for the PG&E bill and the building and to help the broker make more money, right? To make the kind of money that Robert makes, right? That 0.5% is what we're talking about. So what we're saying at PWM is pay the loan officer the same that he's always gotten. We're not going to take it from the loan officer. Okay? Still offer the wholesale product to our clients. Don't jack up the rates on them. Okay? But that money that was going to management, that $2,000, that 0.5%, why don't we take from that bucket and distribute it back to our team builders? Why don't we take that money and why don't we use it as an incentive to our employees to help us grow? Say what you will about network marketing, but Amway, that company that was network, I'm sure a lot of you think Amway when you think multi-level, right? That company today is worth $8.8 billion. Nerium, which is a skincare multi-level, they went from $0 when they started to over $1 billion in just 4 years, okay? Because multi-level works from a company growth standpoint. When every single employee is incentivized to bring on more people, you go from having 1 recruiter in the office to 100. And those companies grow 10 times as fast, right? Because there's opportunity there. There's opportunity when the wealth is distributed back to the employees themselves, okay? And when that company gets to, like for example, eXp Realty, I think they're up to like 25,000 employees right now, right? They're also a unilevel multi-profit share just like us, right? So when that company gets to 25,000, you want to be employee number 20 in that growth model. Because those that got involved in the ground floor got the biggest profit share payouts. That's when it gets crazy. That's when you're looking at retirement money, when you get involved at the beginning. Because almost every employee is related to you somehow in your branch. Okay, and that's when you see the big profit shares. All right? So here's how the model works. So I want to go over this real briefly. All right? So again, this is I want to kind of make this make sense for you guys. So again, here's our $400,000 loan, $5,000 to the loan officer, and this is the $2,000 that's paid to our loan officer. And this, this is what we're going to use for profit share. So everything we talk about in terms of the money you can make comes from this bucket. Okay? So how it works in multi-level is if I recruit you, you're on my first level. And then if you go and recruit someone else, that person's on my second level, and so on and so forth. So what we say in our model is that if you bring on one person, then you make 17.5% of all of your level 1 production from this company bucket. So 17.5% of 2,000 is $350. So if you bring on a person and they close a loan, that's $400,000, you made a check for $350. Just like that. Simple. Okay? Now if you bring on 5 people, you recruit 5 people, now you get 20% of your level 2. So let's say that I bring on 10 people. Maybe I'll draw it here. I haven't drawn this out before. All right, so I bring on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're just going to say 10. Okay? 10 people. All right? So if I recruit 10 people, those people are my level 1. And if every one of those people closes a deal that's $400,000, I get $350 a file from my level 1, which would mean what? What's 350 times 10? So I just made $3,500 from my team. I didn't do anything. I just introduced them to the company. They came on board. I just made $3,500. Okay? Now let's say that my 10 people over the next 6 months also bring on 10 people each. Okay? So this guy brings on 10, this guy brings on 10, and it just keeps multiplying. How many people does that make on my second level? 100, right? So 100 people are on my level 2, right? And I'm getting 20% of their production. So my level 2 also all close one deal that month, just one deal. So each of my 100 closes one deal. I'm getting $400 a pop if all those are $400,000 loan size. So what's 400 times 100? 40 grand. So I just made 40 grand, and guess what, guys? I'm only level 2 here. That's it. And guess what my butt did? I just brought on 10 people. They did the rest. And you know what? Those 10 people are also making 350 of their 10. So now my level 1 is incentivized to grow because they're getting paid, and I'm incentivized to help them grow because I'm getting paid on their level. Okay? So level 1, I just made $3,500, and guess what? I didn't swing my hammer. I'm working crazy right now, just producing and making, but I'm swinging a hammer every day, guys. This is money I'm making off of other people swinging hammers for me, well, for the company.
Do you need to have the license to get paid?
Good question. We're going to get to that in the end. All right? So $3,500. And then on my second level, I'm getting paid 40 grand. Now let's say in another 6 months, everyone in my second level also recruits 10 people. How many people does that put on my third level? 10,000 people. 6 months goes by, they're bringing people to these little meetings, right? So 100,000 people come on my third level. Now according to this chart, I make 12.5% of every single one of those 10,000. So if my 10,000 all close one deal, now I'm training you guys on how to close 20 deals. But let's say you bring on a lot of producers and they are underproducing, barely popping out loans. This is the kind of numbers we're looking at. So you got 10,000 people, they're all closing a loan. What's 10,000 times 250? Now, 250,000, that's all. No millions yet. Okay? So I just made $250,000 on my third level. And my butt just recruited 10 people. That's all I did. I recruited 10 people, the company did the rest. They came to all the meetings, they learned how to recruit, they learned how to grow, and now if I add all three up, I'm well over $300,000. Well, no, I'm just under $300,000, right? In a month, guys. This is a month, okay? This is not a year. This is a strong month from a big team. When Robert was talking about how there's no ceiling, how there's no cap, there is truly no cap when you are building a team. You can't make the kind of numbers as a producing loan officer that you can as an owner. You just can't. Look at me versus Robert, right? Robert's the guy that's got like the millions upon millions, right? And he's built a team as an owner, and they're all producing for him, right? Okay? Now, if my 10,000 Go on to recruit 10 people more in another 6 months. So now I'm like 2 years in, guys. This is 2 years into this company, but my team's just growing, right? We're expanding, maybe to another state, whatever, because this is so new, right? How many people does that put on my 4th level? 100,000 people on my 4th level. That's a pretty big number. Okay? Now, according to this chart, on my 4th level, I get paid 7.5% of all of the company bucket if they all close a deal. That's $150, $150 a pop. So 150 times 100,000 is
1.5.
there. Now we're in the millions. So 1.5 mil that month. Okay. Now here's the thing, guys. Do I have access to this? Because according to this chart, I have to recruit how many people to reach this far down? I have to recruit 15. How many people did I recruit? I recruited 10. So of that 1.5 million, I see 0. I don't make any of that money. Company does. Okay? So now my butt's got to get out there and recruit 5 more people because I want to have access. I want to be able to reach down 4 levels deep because now I'm in the millions. That's the power of incentivized growth. If I see $1 million price tag, if I got to bring on 5 more people, I'm going to go out and find those 5 people. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to be cold calling. I'm going to be doing what I can to grow my team. And if every person on your team is that into growth, they're all going to expand exponentially. This kind of model goes like this. That's why these companies become billion-dollar companies in a matter of years. Because everybody wants to grow. Everyone's crazy obsessed because the money's being given back to you. Right? Management's not holding on to it. This is all being distributed back to you guys. Okay? So this is an example. So again, to access level 4, you got to bring on 15. To access level 5, you got to personally recruit 20 people to be able to reach down 5 layers deep. And so on and so forth. To get to level 6, you got to get 25 people recruited, and then to get level 7, you got to get 40. That's the top. And you cannot reach more than 7 layers down. But if you see the numbers, you really don't need to. Okay? That's when you get into the millions. That's when the numbers get really, really big. Okay? So I have a couple more examples. I know when you first see this, it's kind of confusing. You're kind of getting it. So I'll present another example that's a little more conservative. But keep in mind the levels and the percentages. And all the numbers I present to you are all based on everyone closing 1 deal a month at a loan size of $400,000. Okay? So I started out with the person who brings on 20 people. This is actually big people. So 20 people who all close a deal. And in this example, let's just say that every person in your team just doubled themselves. So over 6 months, my 20 became 40. Another 3 or 4 months, my 40 became 80. And each layer just doubled. Now my partner Robert's like, Doug, don't show this because it's way too conservative. Like, that means nobody's getting the profit share. Everybody in your team, nobody even got to 5 people. They're just all bringing on 2. But for this example, to keep it geometric, I want to illustrate this. Because again, how many loans are we training you to close? 20. 10. Okay, yeah, 10. Okay? So this is all assuming everyone's only going to close 1 deal and that each person only doubles themselves. So on my first layer, if my 20 all close a deal and I'm making $350 a pop on those, I get $7 grand. And in my second layer of 40 people all close a deal, I get another 16 grand on top of that. So if you add these two together, I've made 23 grand that month. Now if my people keep closing that, and you times that by 12, I've made $276,000 that year from my 2 levels. And I brought on 20 people, and they just doubled themselves. That's it. Okay? Now my third layer of 80 also closes a deal each. That's another 20 grand. Added to these 3, you get 43 grand that month, which brings you to $500,000 for the year, if that keeps up. And you guys can see the numbers. As you work your way down, the numbers get pretty crazy. You get into the millions, almost $1 million in a month. And that's assuming that everyone just doubles themselves over time. Now this sounds unrealistic when you think, gosh, I could never do that in 2 months. But if you give yourself 5 years, do you think this is possible? Do you think you can introduce 20 people to the company in 5 years? And those people over time can start also doing the same thing because they have the same drive you do to grow? Of course. This kind of model works because everybody has the same drive, because we're all getting rewarded at the end of the day. Okay? You could have $12,000 on your, or 12,000 people on your level 7. Okay? All right, I have another example just to kind of throw the numbers around. So this is, again, if everybody brings on 2 each, this is the kind of growth and the accumulated earnings you'll get, and this is what you'll get annually from that monthly earning if it continues on. And again, this is the number of loan officers you have to recruit in order to access this on your first line. You have to personally introduce that number of loan officers. They need to remain active, and that's what you have in terms of payouts. Okay? Similar model. This is recruiting 20 people, but each person triples themselves, just to kind of illustrate the numbers as they grow a little bit. And then I think Sadrina had another example where you have 40 people, so now I've brought on enough to fully reach 7 layers down, and if those 40 just triple themselves each layer, the kind of monthly payouts you'll see, cumulative monthly payouts, and then annual payouts you'll see if everybody's closing 1 deal a month. Okay, this is all based on 1 deal a month. So part of this, good question, right? I'll also get this to the end, but I'll answer it now. So we invested in a powerful back-end software system that they specialize in multi-level and creating teams and payouts. We've been working on it for about 8 months, and it's finally getting to the point where we can release it. But that's what's managing it. So we have a you plug in, this dude closed a loan at this amount, poof, everybody's instantly paid out their percentages. So it's not someone that's hand calculating this stuff. It's going to get overwhelming when we get enough closings to where you can't have a person calculating all this stuff. All right, so in closing, right, in conclusion, right, I want to let you guys know that if you want to come on board and just be a loan officer, there's a great opportunity in that. You do not have to make a penny off of team building and still be very successful as a loan officer. Come to work for us. We'll show you how to be great. We'll give you the training and the strategies and the tools and all the products you need to be successful without making a penny off team building. In fact, if I just had 3 or 4 great producers that were closing 10 deals a month, I'm making great money, and they're not even helping me grow. I'm just, because again, nobody makes any money until someone closes a deal. So if you get a couple of really big producers on your team, you start to generate a lot of income. Okay? But for those of you who catch the vision of recruitment and catch the vision of this exponential growth model, we have that as well. Okay? And the reason why this was so appealing to me personally is because at the end of the day, I'm swinging a hammer every day. As Robert said, I make a decent income, right? But if I get in a car accident on my way to work, my pipeline dies out in about 3 or 4 months. Because I'm not there, I'm not pushing it every single day. Okay? What we're offering at Pacific Bay Mortgage is something a little, Pacific Wholesale Mortgage is something a little different, right? It's the opportunity to leave behind an actual business, to leave this planet and still have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month for your family, and just income from your producing team that you worked years to grow. Okay? So, I love the quote. I teach a lot of personal development, but Tony Robbins said that people are capable of achieving great things, but what most of us will end up achieving during our lifetimes is fairly disappointing, right? And the difference is belief. We don't get what we want. We don't get what we want in this life. We get what we believe we deserve. Okay. Now at the company, not only as a top producer do you have to have the right strategies, but you've got to have the right mindset. You've got to aim your sights a little bit higher. And a lot of times those limiting beliefs that tell you you're only worth so much take some time to uncover and overcome. We want to help you do that, right? We want to give you the training you need to produce this kind of volume, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, we succeed when you do. If I have a company of winners, we're all literally winners. And that's what we want to create here. So what's next? So it sounds like a good opportunity. To kind of close this out, let's talk about how to come on board. So first off, I want to mention that if you're interested, if this is something you're thinking about, right? As we have a lot of loan officers coming in, and I only had a couple hands of people who are currently loan officers, so we are going to have an influx of a lot of new loan officers, mass of them, right? And our concern is we want to create a standardized level of service from our new loan officers, right? We are in the business of creating professionals and not a mass of amateurs, okay? So believe it or not, the bar to get into this industry is fairly low. And there are loan officers that are doing a horrible job, right? So we don't want that at our company. So what we're doing is we're creating a multi-day seminar. It's going to be over a weekend, Saturday to Sunday. It's going to be 16 hours, right? And it's going to be training you on the basics on how to be an effective loan officer, how to read a credit report, how to review income documentation, right? What's the process flow from start to finish, right? What are the programs and the products out there that you need to be aware of when borrowers come to you, right? We want to throw all of that in there so you start running, that you know what you're doing. So we're going to have a lot of people. This is a great opportunity. We're going to have a lot of people coming in that are new, okay? That's going to be 10 hours. The other 6 hours of this multi-day seminar we're calling the basic building blocks is going to be top producer training, right? How to close 10 deals a month, how to sell a realtor, how to build value to your borrowers, right? That kind of training, right? When I got in this industry, I paid a couple grand a month for that kind of training. I don't want to, we're not going to have that kind of charge for this training, okay? So during the basic building blocks, we're going over loan officer basics and also how to become a top originator. Now, for those of you who are already a producing loan officer, right, we will have a waiver form so you don't have to take the basic building blocks. Now, this is good information that's going to help you grow, but if you want to get out basic building blocks, you can interview with me, you can interview with Robert, and if you already bring in that kind of volume and you can show you have the value, you don't have to attend. And after the first day, if you don't like it, we'll part ways as friends, drive home safe. But after second day, you're in. Right? Now you're a loan officer and we're going to move forward together. Okay? So how to come aboard? So there's 2 ways to come aboard. So number 1, you come as a recruiter. You come as just a team builder. Now as a team builder, you don't have to get a license. You are a 1099 private contractor. But as such, you cannot solicit loans. You cannot. Okay? If that happens, you will be let go. Because that's CFPB stuff and we can't mess with that. Okay? Now, as a team builder, you're going to get paid out of that same profit share program. You don't have to be licensed, EJ, to get paid to build a team because you're not getting paid from the loan officer bucket. There's a bucket that's straight for the loan officer, and then there's the company bucket that goes to pay PG&E and the rent. That's the bucket we're taking that we can pay anybody to help us get business. Okay? But you cannot solicit loans. Absolutely not. Okay? So as a recruiter, you've got to attend the Basic Building Blocks course. The Basic Building Blocks course, this 2-day seminar, is $525 for all of this training to get brought up to speed on how to originate, how to be a top producer. Okay? We want our team builders to understand the industry and to know what their loan officers have access to in terms of training. So you'll attend the Basic Building Blocks. Also, there's a startup package because you got to have materials. I want professional cards for you guys. I want the name tags. I want you set up on that website that tracks your team production. There's a lot of back office setup involved. That's $150 to start up and get all that going. Okay? And then right now, there's a software monthly access because you're going to have access to that for troubleshooting. We're not going to be charging any monthly fees right now because we are in pre-launch right now. We haven't even launched. We're going to be launching in April. But right now we're building and we're growing. But we want you to use the software. We want you to help us work out the bugs if there are any, right? It's like that new phone. It's going to have some updates, okay? So we are not charging any monthly fees to have access to our software at this time.
So who is building the software? Do you buy it or Sadrudin is building it?
Sadrudin hired a company. I don't remember where they're from, but they're the ones that they're on the phone. They're different hours. I think they're up at 11, troubleshooting it right now, doing the finishing touches. Go ahead.
Can you explain a little bit more of the recruiting side? Like, I'm doing real estate, so I don't want capital or loans, but I wouldn't mind recruiting loan officers. So I go to the basic blocks, I learn the system that you're talking about.
So you attend the basic building blocks.
Yeah.
You pay your $150 startup so we can get you on the software, get you all set up. Now that $50 a month also gives you access to all of our training. We're going to have weekly training, online training to help you be an effective team builder. Again, we want to give you the tools you need to be successful. So essentially that's all you need to do. You don't need to get licensed, come on board as a builder, and start bringing loan officers to this event.
And I bring in 10, they bring in 10, close 1.
You grow.
1.
Now what you don't want is a team of builders because nobody gets paid until someone closes a loan. So your target audience are loan officers, right? Because if you bring in a branch manager and he's already got 6 loan officers who are already producing, that's how you make money as a builder. You don't make money as a builder bringing in 6 other builders. You could eventually, but it's going to be pretty far down the line.
But I'm saying the levels are the same as what you were explaining.
Levels are the same. Whoever you recruit is your level 1. Whoever they recruit is your level 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's how the system has to be set up to keep it synchronized. Okay, so that's the builder. That's number 1. Number 2, to close off, come on as a loan officer. Right? Now, as a loan officer, in contrast, you must get licensed. There's a 20-hour course you got to take that's state mandated. It's not our course. And you take and pass the NMLS exam. I had a buddy that was really, really motivated. He did it in 2 weeks. Okay? Normally, it takes more like a month. Okay? You got to sign up for that, take that. Now, you're also going to be obviously attaining the basic building blocks. Okay? We want you to be trained the right way to be a good producing loan officer. There's a startup package, again, to set you up with all your cards and your software. And then the software we're giving you access to for $100 a month is our CRM and our back office. So a CRM is a client management system that allows you to track your leads, allows you to send email blasts, co-marketing campaigns with your agents, right? And there's also a program we're going to give you called Realtor Turbo that allows your realtors to go on and generate open house flyers and all of their marketing material. Now, for those of you who are not loan officers, you're like, dang, $100 a month, I don't know. Right? But if you're already a loan officer, you know that this is a discount. I pay $100 a month just for my CRM, and I pay another $150 for my list reports. So I'm at $250, okay, for those 2 things. So we want to offer a discounted program. We're not here to make money off you guys, but we do need to give you the tools you need to go out and actually produce, right? Because if you had that question, you bring out a bunch of loan officers, and no one's producing, nobody's winning. So we need to give them access to all the programs and tools they need. To have access to the biggest marketing base in the world right now, which is social media, right? Our software is going to give you access to that. Okay, and there'll be training you can take on how to perfect it. But again, you'll have access to it now, but no one's being charged anything until April because we're debugging this stuff. And we're going to be rolling out all its features slowly over the next few months. Okay? So, go ahead.
What about that 525? What is it?
That's the basic building blocks. Right? So that's the intro course you're taking to ensure that you understand how to be an effective loan officer / top producer.
Who's gonna teach it?
What's that?
Who's going to teach
Who's
it?
teaching the course?
So Robert's going to be teaching a lot of it. I'm going to be teaching a lot of the top producer training. Right? So over the years, I've developed software and things to track and how to organize your week and all that stuff. So I'm going to be going over all that with you guys. So I'm opening my books so you guys have all my strategies.
How long is the course?
It's a weekend. So it's 8 hours on a Saturday, it's 8 hours on a Sunday.
So is that 26 hours?
What was that?
Is it that 26 hours?
No. 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday.
The 20 hours is like mandated.
20 hours has nothing to do with our company, but it's something you have to do to get licensed. The state of California. So the 20-hour course is not us, but that's something you have to do to get your license, which you need to have in order to work for us. So you got to take that course. And we have a discount to that course. Come see me afterwards. It's Sam. Sam has a discount code to help you get into that course for a little less, for those who want to come on board. All right, guys, so if you think this is a great opportunity, come see us. We'll talk about the next steps and stages. And thanks, everybody, for coming. Appreciate your time.